constitutional change by other means. Okay, so basic legislation. Congress has been a major agent of constitutional change in two important ways. It has passed a number of laws to spell out several of the Constitution's brief provisions. Congress has added flesh to the bone of those sections of the Constitution to the framers left purposely skeletal provisions they left for Congress to detail as circumstances required.
Executive action. The manner in which various presidents have used their powers has also contributed to the growth of the Constitution. For example, the document says that only Congress can declare war. The Constitution makes the president the commander-in-chief of the nations and armed forces. But also about this, the president has gone into war with other countries without actually declaring war. So I think the president can have the troops for 60 days, right? He could dislodge them for 60 days and take them actually have them actually on land and in combat. But after those 60 days, he has to remove them. He has to have permission from Congress.
Because Congress can just withhold the funding.
Yes.
Since Congress controls
the moolah. Money talk.
It does.
Court decisions. The nation's court must tally
Money
the
move.
United States Supreme Court interpret and apply the Constitution in many cases that they hear.
So basically, the Constitution doesn't spell out every single scenario in the framework. They do everything case by case as new situations arrive. A good example would be how when they put the interstate highway in the they made that an official thing. It's not like the framers of the Constitution knew that cars were going to be invented or anything like that. So they knew that they couldn't possibly foresee everything. Is that clear to you guys? Party practices. The nation's political parties have also been a major source of constitutional change over the course of our political history, despite the fact that the Constitution makes no mention of political parties. In fact, most of the framers were opposed to their growth. Custom. Unwritten custom may be as strong as written law, and many customs have developed in our governmental system. By custom, not because the Constitution says so, the heads of the 15 executive departments make up the cabinet. So, I have some other examples. For example, the informal amendments made by Congress. One of them was it was in Article 2. Article 2 creates office for the president and the vice president only, but all of the agencies, departments, and offices that make up the huge executive branch were created by acts of Congress. Yeah, and something that I looked up, it said on the internet that Marbury versus Madison would be an example of an informal amendment. And I think, I'm not exactly sure why they said
Don't hop
that.
off that. Don't go to another one because that's a really important one. At that point, the Founding Fathers, when they initially crafted the Constitution, did not envision the Supreme Court having such enormous influence. Marbury versus Madison gave the power of judicial review to the Supreme Court, which basically said they could invalidate anything the Congress and President did through legislation by saying it was unconstitutional. That was an enormous, titanic, gigantic power grab by the Supreme Court.
So that gave more or less power to the Supreme Court. Exactly.
I was just saying that's an enormous power grab.
Okay, no, I didn't hear you. What?
Wow.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Titanic. You even say Titanic.
So, do you guys have any questions? Like this?
Oh, Who was it that said something about the parties, that it would be best to stay away from
George
parties?
Washington.
Yeah.
He said they'll spell the demise of the republic through the Constitution because this was built for a people with a pluralistic society. And when you have parties, like, for instance, I could see many of you guys in the future as being qualified and able in terms of skills and attributes of representing the people, either at the state level as an assemblyman or woman, a state senator, or going to the U.S. Senate or U.S. Congress or being a governor. But unless you pay your dues to either the Republican or the Democratic Party,
They're gonna go for it.
you have no chance. You have to kiss the ring of the parties. And there's nothing about political parties in the Constitution. Nothing. But that's the reality.
He also didn't want us to be involved with European affairs in Washington.
Well, he said avoid entangling alliances. And at that time, the major power brokers in the world were Europeans. But I think the principle was that don't get so wrapped up in foreign dealings.
When
that
you gotta take care of your own.
Yes, right. And I don't know if that would have evolved over time, because at that time we were a brand new infant country, brand new. And we were having enough trouble just trying to work out this brand new experiment of self-government. So, you know, I don't know.
So at the time it was good. Later on, our country had to become more involved.
No.
Well, like
You're putting
economically.
words in his mouth. I'm saying I don't know what
No,
he
no,
said.
I'm not saying that's what he said. I'm saying, in my opinion, I think the country is better off, like, with, like, other countries, like, economically, like, through, like, corporations and, like, multinational, like, you know, things like that,
What the?
economically wise.